Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about Java Final Keyword. All code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
Just given because we need this final keyword after some time. Let me talk about this final keyword. First point, if I want to say anything about final, it is like it is a keyword in Java. Fine. So this keyword we can apply. Now see, I'm just writing one class product. This is a product class that have its own instance variable. I'm not writing. Assume it has one instance variable. Private int prod id. Fine. Equal to assume something like this. Fine. And inside this you have a particular method called void so order. Assume one method is there like this. Fine. Okay. So this is one method is there inside this product class. So I'm talking about this final keyword. So this final keyword we can use in class level. We can use in variable level, as well as we can use in the method level. So if I write this final keyword in the class level and assume I have another one class called class. Inventory extends product. If I write like this, it will not work. So what I've written, I've just written one derived class that will extend this product class. Assume any derived class. Assume any derived class that will extend the product class. So if this class is a final, then you cannot write like this. It's wrong. It's wrong. Why? Because final class cannot be extended. You have to remember this. Final class cannot be extended. Final class cannot be extended. Extended means you cannot extend a final class. Most of the scenario, you'll find that all the available games in the market, they'll make their classes as final so that anyone will buy the game and extend that game or modify. So they cannot do that. So I'm just giving one scenario. There is lots of things on this. Okay, fine. So final class cannot be extended. If any particular class is final, no other class can extend a final class. Fine. Now I can use this final keyword before a variable name also. I can use this final keyword before a variable name. Okay, so let's use it before a variable name. Assume I'm writing on variable final. So private final int product ID this. So I have one final variable inside a class. Fine. And what I have done is that in my derived class, Now this derived class will work, right? It is not a final class. Second scenario, it is not a final class. So you can extend a class that is not final. Now you have a method, a variable as a final. Okay, and what I have done is that inside derived class I am using prod id equal to prod id equal to 7007, like this. Because inventory class extends product class, so that prod id will be available inside the derived class. And what I have done in the derived class, I'm just changing the value of this instance variable in the derived class. Correct? So if you write like this, it will not work. It is wrong. Why? Because if any variable is final, that means it's constant. Constant means if you declare a particular variable as final, you cannot change that variable in the same class as well as in the derived class or anywhere in the complete application, because final variable cannot be changed. It's constant. Here I'm changing that variable value, right? It is 7006. I'm making it as a 7007. So I'm just changing the variable value, right? So this is wrong. It will give an error. The reason is that final variable value is constant. Constant means you cannot change that variable value. Final variable value you cannot change, so that is constant. So that's why the second point we can define like this. Fine. So in the third scenario, assume I'm coming to the third scenario. Third scenario, I want to apply this final for a particular method, right? I'm using this final for a particular method. Fine. So what I'll do, I've just written this final variable for a particular method. So if you write it for a particular method, what will happen? Assume this method is defined in the base class and you want to override this method in the derived class. How? Void show order. So assume this is your method, void show order, and that is defined inside the inventory class. Fine. Assume you have something here. You're just printing. Assume you're just printing something here. System.out.println, and you're printing some string like inside product. And here when I'm going to override in the derived class, Control C, same signature, right? Going to override in the derived class, Control V, it should be inside inventory. Okay, time is there. One and a half hour time we have, so you can hide. Okay. Now here, file save. So here what I'm going to do is that here this is the particular show order method. This order method I have overridden inside a derived class. From base class, I have overridden this method in the derived class. Fine, but it will not work. Why? Because you have used this method as a final. If you declare a particular method as a final, that means is that this is wrong. You cannot, this will not work. Wrong. Why? Because final method cannot be overridden. Final method cannot be overridden. Okay, so let's see this stage. So you have to remember here, final method cannot be overridden. You cannot override a final method from base class to the derived class, right? So let's see this one. Whatever I've just told, let me execute and see. Control C. Okay. So what we'll do is that let me execute and check how it is. Whatever just now I told, it's working fine like this, or how it is. So let me create one class, final demo. Right click, new class. Assume this is defined inside a package like this. And class name is product. This is the class, product class we have written. Right? So just see here, this is not a final. Save it, there is no error. There is no error, it's fine. After save, right click, source, format. Fine. It's fine. Now if you make this method as final, you'll find an error. See? Because final method we cannot override. Right? This is one point. Second point is that if I make a particular variable as a final, make this variable as final. Okay, and what I want in the derived class, I'm just making prod ID equal to 7 7. If you write like this, see what it is saying. It is saying that prod ID. So this prod ID is 7006. When I come in the derived class, you're changing that variable value, right? Variable declared. Okay, you can write here int prod ID. But if I'm going to print that value, it will print this local variable. Now what I want is that just take this variable control X, control V. Okay, this is the private we have declared this, right? Now see here, that final variable that came in the derived class, and if I'm going to change that variable value, it is giving an error. Why? Because final variable value you cannot change. This is a final. You cannot change that variable value. That's why final variable value is constant. Okay. The third scenario is like final class. So just use this final keyword before this class name. Final. What I've told, that final class cannot be extended. If this class is final, if I'm going to extend it, see here, it is giving an error because this class is final. So you cannot write a derived class for your final class. If you have a final class, then that class cannot be extended. Right? So these are the properties of final. This is the properties of final. Okay. So this is all about final in Java. You'll find where you will find final. This is the meaning in complete Java. Fine. So let's move with another one next OOPS concept. If any queries, you can tell me here. If anyone have any questions on final.